Hello and welcome to the A-List. I'm Dan Fleming and joining me today is Gregg Potter. He's an Emmy Award-winning drummer. And hello, Mr. Potter. Welcome to the show. Now, tell me what you do for a living.
Well, at this point, I'm a drummer. With this hairdo and this outfit, there's really not too many jobs I could have other than playing the drums. Or what else do I do? Drumming is pretty much what I do.
Now, you perform with the group Supermercado, right?
Right.
Right. Can you tell me a bit about them?
Supermercado. Right now, the big band I'm playing with is Black Box.
Right.
I talk about Supermercado, but because of all the excitement around this Emmy that I just won,
All right.
let me just talk about Black Box a
Yeah.
little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to switch this up too quick, but
That's totally fine.
the excitement with Supermercado, which we'll get to in a minute, because I brought CDs for everybody. You want to show those now?
Yeah, sure. Now, this is Black Box's CD,
Yeah,
right?
that's Black Box's CD. We'll get to Supermercado in a second.
Okay.
They got this fancy one. Where are we going here? There you go.
So,
Fancy one with the girl on it. All of them have girls on it. I
Yeah.
guess that's kind of like a reoccurring theme here. Okay, we'll talk about Supermercado in a second, because
Okay.
Supermercado got another RB guy in there right there.
Excellent.
But yeah, Black Box, that's the new one from them, and that's who I am currently playing with.
Yes.
Did the Warped Tour this summer, and most recently won that fancy
Won the Emmy, yes.
Why don't I just sit and hold that?
Yes.
Look at, actually, I'm going to have that made into a belt buckle. So if you guys want to, this could be kind of weird, but
Yeah.
I'll hold it on my knee. How's that?
All right.
But that suddenly went. Whatever. So yeah, it was Black Box is the group I was
Black Box.
playing with that we won this Emmy. Why don't we
Right.
tell that story?
Okay.
The Emmy
Yeah,
story.
how'd you
Always
guys get
exciting.
started?
Yeah, it just went. We just got it in November. But Black Box, two-piece band.
Right.
We're like the White Stripes with a crazy guy drummer instead of a crazy girl drummer. All right.
How'd you guys get your start?
With Black Box?
Yes.
I am like a gun for hire, soldier of fortune,
Okay.
professional drummer. See? And Black Box, is one of those bands out there. That's basically what I do. I
Right.
mean, or any professional musician. I mean, unless you end up being in a band like, my first band was Van Halen.
Yeah, and they just took off.
Well, yeah, I mean, and then you played in one band your whole career, but unfortunately, that doesn't always work out. So, yeah.
Did the manager of Black Box contact you, or did you meet up with the singer/guitarist first?
Yeah,
or?
that pretty much what it is people, you kind of get that reputation out there.
Okay.
I've been playing for so long that I think I've been in every band that's ever come out of Chicago.
Jeez.
I think I've been in every band.
Wow.
That might be an exaggeration. I looked off camera just in case my lawyer was shaking his hand saying that. My lawyer's really not here. That's TV. Trick him. But yeah, so what you do is you just continually, you're always looking for something. You're like a shark. You just swim and you wait for a seal to come in your way or something, or a surfer or something. But yeah, so Black Box, the guitar player, I had played in a group that he saw me playing, said, hey, I need a drummer. That would be about 2 years ago. He's in the, he works in television, and I'm going to speed up to get to this Emmy story. So he and I, we've been playing for 2 years, putting out CDs, touring, playing. We got involved with the Grammy Foundation, not the Emmys, the Grammys. Let me drop a couple big names here.
Okay.
But you know, Grammys, that's
the
for
music awards.
people get that, right? This is from television people. That's why I'm holding on to it, because I'm still waiting for these Emmy people to go, wait a second, the guy's a drummer.
Yeah.
We don't give Emmys. I mean, this should go to like McDreamy, not McDrummy. Get out of here. We played at the Grammy Foundation conference here in Chicago at Columbia College. And CBS Television covered Black Box, Damon and I, and we also had Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick. He was at the conference, and he came on stage and played with us. So they filmed this news piece, which is, when they film a whole news piece, it's more than what you sometimes that you actually see on the news. So this was maybe an 8-minute piece. Our live performance was half of that. So the live performance of me, Damon from Black Box, Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, playing some old Cheap Trick classics, Surrender, I Want You to Want Me. They took that live performance piece, and that's what was submitted to the Emmy board.
Wow.
Emmy people. And that would have been back in March that we did this. October came along. I'm getting my costume ready for Halloween. No, this isn't a costume. This is what I look like. This is why you saw what happened when we walked into school today. They asked us to leave. They didn't ask us, though. You saw a couple of those teachers like, oh, my God, this is going to be a problem. Kind of looks like a little girl walking in, but I think it's a man.
No.
She didn't say all that. Okay, so we get nominated in October, up against people I had never heard about. I mean, because I didn't really see, I didn't really know the people that got nominated also for this live performance deal. And November 7th.
Big day.
Big day. Of course, I had a gig booked because I play all the time.
Right.
So I get a fancy Armani suit. We'll see it. I think we've got pictures. I brought pictures, so we're going to see this. My Armani suit. I think the pants are Versace, though. But you got to see the shoes, though. Shoes were Jaguar.
Oh,
PETA
really?
people, PETA people were like throwing red paint on me when I walked in. Kidding, I'm adding all these stories. Edit that out, though. Just say, PETA people were chasing me. Okay, cut it right there. So we go to the Park West in Chicago, and that's where the event was at. And we, I'm sitting there. We're the second to last category to get called.
And you guys, you had a show to do.
I got a show to do.
Yeah.
Playing with, this is with Black Box. I had a show with Supermercado, and it's a deal with our record company, Dark Star Records. They had a whole, whatever. That's another thing.
Yeah.
In this business, you got to work when you have to work, because you and I both know.
They have you in a schedule, right?
Well, that and and just remember, there's someone sleeping in their car waiting to come get your job. So if you don't show up, someone else will do it. But no one can take my place in Supermercado. Are you kidding me? Once I'm in a band, that's it. When I quit, the band's done. Okay. So I'm sitting there. It's like things started at 5:30. They start giving the trophies out at 7. I stayed there till like 9 o'clock.
Jeez.
My phone's going like nuts. Dude, where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Record company guy, band people, where are you at? Where are you at? And I'm like, well, I'm waiting to get my Emmy. But at this point, you're sitting there watching chlorine. A danger to your children, or will it just burn your eyeballs out? I mean, there's like all these different news things. There was something about sharks won like a bunch of things. So I'm like, man, how am I going to win this when all these people are doing these cutting news stories about sharks at the John G. Shedd Aquarium, or chlorine burning some kid's eyes out, or whatever was going on. So about 9:05, I get up and I got a blast and go to this gig. So the other guy, Damon from Black Box, he stays. Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, he bailed. He didn't show. He wouldn't even come in.
He didn't even show up?
He didn't even show up because he's like, hey, do you think we're going to win this? We're like, well, we don't know. I mean, we don't know if we're going to. It's the Emmys, man. We don't have a poll here. He's like, well, I don't know, man. I don't want to be all dressed up and not win. Okie doke. So Damon and I are there, and I blast out. Damon sits. I drive from the Park West to my gig. I get to the parking lot of my gig. I'm getting out of the car. We just won. I'm going on stage. There you go, buddy.
Nice.
I'm playing a gig. I play my gig, 30-minute set, get off the drums. The cymbals are still moving on the stage. I get back in the car, drive back down the Park West. There you go.
Presented with the fine prize.
Right there.
Yes.
Now this doesn't have the little ring around it yet with my name.
It doesn't have the plaque, right?
Right. So what I could do is I could actually sell this on eBay right now, because it really does. It belongs to me, because my name's in the real Emmy book and everything.
Right.
But they haven't sent me my little. I guess that takes a little while, because hey, someone else could have won it, and then maybe they're going to give this one to Susan Lucci. For you people under 50, that's like that woman that tried to get an Emmy for 18 years or something.
Jeez.
There you go. She won one after 18 years. I won one after 18 minutes.
Jeez.
Worked out for me.
Now,
Oh.
getting the Emmy, that takes a lot of recognition and everything like that. Now, when you first out of high school, how did you get your start in the music industry? Where did you start?
Well, yeah, that was right out of high school. I don't really remember the year. But when I was in high school, I mean, I always played the drums. If you go through an old yearbook, whatever year, you look. I mean, there are pictures of me playing the drums. Pretty much anybody you say like, "Hey, what about that Potter guy?" First of all, they'd say he looked like he was 11 years old. Well, I was really small in high school, and like I'm so big now. But I was like a tiny little guy, played the drums, whatever. So I get out of high school, and right out of high school, I landed the gig with this too, you'd probably have to ask your mom about it or something, or like, you kids don't remember Steve Dahl, the disc jockey that blew up all the disco records
Disco
at Comiskey
Demolition.
Park. Disco
Yes.
Demolition. Steve Dahl, Gary Meyer, he had a band called Teenage Radiation, and they recorded all those crazy. Steve Dahl was like cool way before Howard Stern. I mean,
Right.
Howard Stern was
Yeah.
not even happening yet. He was a shock jock before shock jocks were shock jocks, But we did these crazy songs, kind of Weird Al Yankovic like.
Okay.
Do You Think I'm Disco was like Rod Stewart's Do You Think I'm Sexy. Ayatollah was My Sharona by
Right.
the Knack. Whatever. I recorded those and played with him right out of high school.
Wow.
So, yeah, that was, we did a daily radio show. We ended up doing a daily, we did television specials, but then we ended up, toward the end, we had our own daily television show. So, that gig worked out. And through that was when I met, people, because that's another thing in this
Right.
business. It's all, I don't know what they call it now, networking?
Name dropping.
Name dropping, but right, but
yeah.
people have to see you. They have to see you out there. You could hand out resumes all day, but if someone doesn't see you do your thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Milton
seeing is
Bradley
believing
sounded like
in
a
this
good idea,
industry.
but when he got out there and couldn't swing the bat,
Right.
or when he did and it didn't work,
Yeah.
people want to see you do your thing. Why, did I just bring him up? How about that A-Rod? He's something, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second, that was the Yankees. But I'm saying you've got to perform. You've got to, how about that Tiger Woods? Now there's a problem.
Yeah, there's a story.
You might want to edit that. Okay, this is high school. So through that networking, starting right out of high school. So yeah, I did go to college, but right out of high school, I also, along with college, I played in bands. And
So what was it like to be out there performing like your first gigs? Was it really nerve-wracking, or was it?
it was, I could probably put that down now. Don't watch it, someone doesn't steal it. It at the time, what I see now is that just appreciate everything you got going on. Even this thing, what you're doing with the television thing, appreciate what you have going on, because I don't want to sound like your old crazy uncle or something, but you don't really realize what you've got happening.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I'm glad that everything I've done, I appreciated it. And that being my Steve Dahl time, I played Soldier Field in front of 65,000 people.
Wow.
Think about that. Guess who? Steve Dahl, we opened up for Cheap Trick. Now,
Wow.
who would have thought that many years later, I would be,
Playing with one of the members. Of
yeah,
Cheap Trick.
winning an Emmy with Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick.
Right.
There's all kinds of stories. I actually played the Park West in a band that played with Cheap Trick years before, on the same day, November 7th, 19-something. So getting back to that networking thing, yeah, you do, and that too, I would have been 16, 17 years old playing in front of 65,000 people at Soldier Field.
Right.
Yeah, good thing I did keep up whatever I did. But those kind of things, I remember that same gig we played with a guy, Joe Walsh, who plays with the Eagles. These bands are classic rock bands at this point.
Right.
But I'm saying, though, those people, they did see me play. And I then played with Joe Walsh later at the Park West. And all this stuff is like networking. And so, right, you do, and getting back to, realize what you're doing, appreciate what you're doing. But you don't really realize the pressure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you think like, wow, what if I would have been rotten back then? Yeah, then I guess maybe I would be selling car parts with my dad. But it worked out. I played all right. And, it's gone on. Take, for instance, this new book that's coming out.
Right.
It's out right now, Sticks and Skins. Why don't we?
Let's show that.
Check this out. How about these Gregg Potter drumsticks? Look at that. Gregg Potter model sticks right there.
You got the signature on it and everything.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
So there you go. You just got to stick at it.
Yeah, nice.
But here, take, for instance, this. Here's this Sticks and Skins. It's a big coffee table. How much? It's like carrying a bowling ball around, isn't it?
It's a big book.
Big book.
What drummers are in here?
Like all the real ones. I don't even know how I'm in there. You're talking like Buddy Rich. All my heroes are in there. I don't want to name them because then Bunny Carlos from Cheap Trick's in there.
Right.
But we could look at it. But I'm just saying, Louis Belson, Buddy Rich, all the real guys. Because hey, I'm all about these new cool, hip, and young bands. But it's just the business is getting so you're cool. Are we really going to dig this guy from Slipknot with the mask on? When I was a kid, you put a goalie mask on, you killed people in movies. You were Jason from Friday the 13th. Now you put a goalie mask on, you're playing the drums. I don't know. Yeah, that book is just full of drummers, and what, like 300, and I'm 1 out of 300. Pretty good.
Yeah,
and I'm
that's
sharing a
very
book
good.
with Buddy Rich. That's pretty much my.
Now, if you were going to send a message or like give anybody advice that wants to be a musician, what would you give them?
Well, yeah, just the entertainment business as a whole. That would be a musician, actor. I was in movies too. Last time I was on RBTV was when I was in Lucas.
Nice.
Yeah, see, I was a movie star for a while too. But then they made me cut my hair.
Oh.
The advice I'd give is just, first of all, you have to stick with it.
Right.
Like you'll sometimes hear, I know I'm an 25-year overnight success or something. Or yes, I do know that sometimes Macaulay Culkin, I did a film with him called Uncle Buck. But I'm saying, yeah, he was a cute, I think when he was in that movie, he might have been 5 or 6 years old. But I'm just saying, yes, once in a while, 1 out of a lot gets tapped on their shoulder. And at 5 years old, you're a movie star. But we're talking about making a career out of it. We're talking about longevity. You just have to stick with it. And then same deal with, you set these goals, and I want to be, because believe me, when I walked around the halls of RB, I went to the Kiss concert just like everyone else. I wanted to be a rock star.
Right.
That was the bottom line. Now, when you got there and you finally found out, wait a second, his name's not really Gene Simmons, it's Gene Klein. He's a businessman from New York. You kind of find out, not that the man's not talented, not that, I'm saying you start to see that, watch out what you ask for, you just might get it. When you get it, it might not be what you thought it was going to be, but you're still like pushing, you're pushing. And that's what I would say. Yeah. Perseverance, stick with it. The highs are highs. I mean, when you get to do things like, share the stage with, I mean, I've been on MTV, they make the drumsticks with my name on them, drums with my, all these things that but then again, like I said, you'd also keep it in perspective, because you get all these things, but then you realize, it's still a drum, and you still got to drive to Dubuque to play a gig or something, or Lincoln, Nebraska. That's another thing too. Not every gig is New York, LA, and Chicago.
Right, you play in small places too. Yeah.
Well, just this country is real big. The world is real big. Yeah. So you get off a plane in Brazil somewhere, they treat you like you're a star. You get back off the airplane at O'Hare Airport, and your car's been towed. Jeez. And then, not that happened to me. The South America part, I think, did, but not the car being towed. But I'm saying, it's just perspective-wise. Right. But there's nothing like chasing a dream. That's one thing I would tell anybody too. There's nothing like that. So I mean, I know, like when you're younger, everyone tells you, "Hey, man, you could be anything. You could be an astronaut or something." Yeah. But then all of a sudden, I had to grow up. Well, I mean, you could still grow up, and I mean, I guess an astronaut's probably not that cool, but. Okay, be a baseball player. Well, just move to the Dominican Republic and swing a bat with them. I mean, you'll get to be on a major league team at one point. But I mean, you just chase that dream. There's nothing like working toward that. I mean, you could do other things, but
just self-dedication to whatever you
it takes a lot of discipline, and we certainly see many situations where you can fall off that
track very easily.
Fall off that track. I mean, there are things that could. They're not always bad things, but you can get married and your wife decides, hey, you don't
cut that out.
Cut that out.
Yeah.
I notice a lot of the girls show up when you play.
Yeah.
Well, I'm taking their clothes or something, or but I would say just stick at it and always take the training like how you're doing. Go to college and study. I mean, my degree ended up being because when I was going to college, I already had quite a music career going on, so I ended up getting a liberal arts degree. So I was able to study, take business classes, and so same thing. You want to be in television, you want to be an actor, you can go to college and major in theater and minor in like business or something.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time.
No, I got more to talk about.
No,
I could keep talking.
All right.
Well, it's over.
Thank you again for coming in, Mr. Gregg Potter, and I'm Dan Fleming, and this has been the A-List, and we'll see you next time.